Hello everyone, welcome to Java Talent. In this today video tutorial, we are going to cover like how we can mitigate the problem on null pointer exception in Spring Boot 4, which is the latest Spring Boot versions, and there it is by default giving the options to mitigate this problem. So basically, you know that in our production ready environment, uh, sometimes we are getting that null pointer exceptions, and we are not sure if there is the long line of codes which we have written. So in that situation, it is difficult for developer to find that the which method will be going to throw that null pointer exception, and that is weird. We can still scolding by our manager, and and it is not the only the manager. Like if it is happen in the production, so there might be the case like we will be scolding from the top management level as well. Like if production is going to be drop, and if we are getting this type of error in production, that is not acceptable, right? So let's start with this first. So I'm going to take that the help of two things. So today one is like jspecify, so which is this is the URL. You can go jspecify.dev. So it is the standard annotations for Java static analysis. If you want, you can go and learn more what it is and how you can implement in your code, right? So and that is the another things like I'm going to take NullAway, use of this NullAway, which is developed by Uber. So this is the repo. You can just explore if you want to take more depth knowledge of it. So now I'm going to take one simple example in our Java Spring Boot version 4. So if you see my form.class, so which I have just demonstrated this package like 4.0.0 versions for our Spring Boot 4.0.2. So this is our Spring Boot 4 version application. So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm not much bother about the structure and all, like how we are going to use repo and then service layer on all of things. I'm not much worried about that package part here, but I'm just wanted to get that the logic how it is going to work. And it is the simple application, nothing much. I have just taken one movie model class, if you see here, which is having ID, name and rating as part of this. And if I can show you that repository, so this is my repository class, movie repository, where I have the two methods. One is like find by name, and other one is find all. Okay, so I'm going to take that find by name methods by passing the movie name, and then find all methods, and it is not going to do anything. If you means see that I'm just taking simple print out a statement, nothing else. I'm not going to take to the database right away. And if you see, this is the our service layer. So if you see that the code of service layer here, it is demonstrating that get movie details and book movie, and get movie names. Okay, so and if you see, this is the method which I'm just calling into this book movie, and it is nothing but just printing the message, right? Applying the promo code and then sending the booking confirmations to the user. So that's the simple print statement, nothing else. I'm just bothering about how we are going to take that null pointer exceptions in real world scenario, and due to that means like lot of problem happen. Okay, because this is a simple one liner code, like one class is there, it is there, and then 10 or 15 line of code. So this is not having much problem. But if you see in the production ready environment, there much be a more classes which we have written and lots of code, line of code. So there it is not able to find the solutions of that, right? And in production we might get null pointer exception. So let's start with this. So if I can demonstrate this service layer, so you can see here in the service layer, you can see that I'm taking that means I'm returning this movie. So if you see, this is the movie name I'm returning. So it is taking that here. So if I am calling this get movie details, I am calling this repository find by name methods. So for example, what happened, like if in the if it in the, it is the in the database, if movie is not there, okay, so in that case this service layer will fail, right? So if you see that I will get movie as null because the movie is not there in the database. So what happened, it will go and I'm returning this formatted part. So if you see here movie dot name, okay, so in that situations, what happened? It will become null, right? So I'm calling here null dot to uppercase for that particular movie name. So that's the null pointer exception here we will get. Okay. So this is the point for this method. We are going to take the help of nullable and then JS this one jspecify. So basically that helps we will get, and then how it will be solve the problem. So it will intimate that before building the applications, because this I'm not sure if I build this application it will run fine, and in the runtime it will fail when the movie is not there into the database, right? So that problem I wanted to mitigate. So that's in that scenario, wherever the movie or anything, any object which will be becoming a null pointer, that will not build our application successfully, or at least it will intimate at slight this can be a null kind of thing. So let's start. So this may be the null. So what is the solutions? So let me create one package, package info.class, and here I'm going to take the help of that null marked annotations, which is, see where it is coming. It is coming from jspecify, right? So see, first one, null mark, which is coming from org.jspecify annotations. Okay, so this annotations I am going to take, I am calling this package. Okay, so you can use wherever you want. I have, that's why I have not created the more package info like repo, different package, service, different package kind of thing. So I'm just demonstrating this whole package. This whole package com.java talent.sub sb null safety, it will become our null marked pointer. So like this is done. So let's start wherever we will get, and what is the problem and solution we will be going to find. So now let's come to your repository class. So in this repository, if you see find by name, right? This method we are calling from our service layer. Okay, so if you see that this is the where this is the place I have told you that if movie is null, find by name, this movie is not find into the database, so it will become a null, and here we will get that movie dot name uh, will be null kind of thing, right? So what happen is, let me first build this application. It will intimate us like here the problem statement is here, but what happen is here is we have some additional things to do. Before of that I just wanted to run this build ambient clean install, so it will build successfully because I have to do one more steps by adding a plugin. So that plugin you can easily find to this null specify NullAway, just specify or NullAway part, and from there you can grab it. I am just going to stop at that screen so that you can take the screenshot of that configuration as well for that plugin when you are going to walk into your locally. Okay, so do not worry, I will hold my screen there. So if you see that my build is still successful because I have not updated anything. I have just created this package info. I'm telling that this package having multiple classes where maybe we will get the null pointer, but I'm not using the actual things. So if you go to the POM, I need to use this plugin. Okay, so let me go to the POM. Here I have written that plugin, but it is in commented mode. I will just highlight it. So let me uncomment it. I will hold my screen there. I will go ahead and copy to the notepad plus plus, you can just grab it. So what I have written is, let me describe first. So this is the plugin I'm going to use, and that is nothing but, if you see this, this is coming from that error prompt, and it is this compiler comments and everything. So here I'm specifically specifying this X plugin is error prone and this NullAway is error kind of thing. So that is information, like if you want only the information you can just put it info, but I want strictly to be used error because I don't want my application to be built successfully. Okay, wherever the null level kind of things, wherever the null pointer exceptions can be caused, so I don't want my applications to be built successfully in that scenario. And this is saying that NullAway is only null marked. If you want I can describe more little bit for this one, and do not much bother about this additional arguments. So I will come to their latter point of view. And if you see, this is the two path which we have to identify. This is the error prone and this is the NullAway, and it is coming from, if you see, this is coming from our Uber repo, right? So this is what I have to add. Let's describe more details if you want. So let's break it deeply. So if you see that the components what I have written there is, first one is error prompt. It is telling that our Java C compiler to load the error prompt plugin, and it is the static analysis tools to replace the parts of Java compiler to detect the common programming mistakes. Okay, And the second parameter is saying that the NullAway error is configuration NullAway, which is an error prompt plugin focused on the null safety, and it flags sets to the severity level of NullAway checker for the error, and meaning that it is detects the potential null issue, compilation will fail, not just the warning. It is not just a warning, because I told you, right, we are using this error, so that will not successfully build our application. Next one is, this is the option flag passed to NullAway. It changes how NullAway enforces null ability. Like normally NullAway requires annotations like nullable, non-null, etc. With only null marked, it is only enforces nullability checks in the classes or the packages explicitly marked with null marked annotations, right? And how, what is this setup does? This together it is like compile runs error prompts, NullAway runs part of the error prompts, and it checks that the name null safety validations null marked code is treated as hard error build will fail in that scenario, right? And code outside of this null marked annotations package isn't strictly checked, okay? Because the package which we have just demonstrated as null check, it will be uh, validating for this particular things, okay? So I have just enabled this plugin. Let me build again. I must get somewhere the error for that null checks. Let's go and see what it is doing. Okay, let's see. Now this time our build is failed. What it is saying, and if you see one error, compilation fails. Did you mean that system.print apply icon, this one? And see, formatted dot actual compilation error I just wanted to show so you can understand. See, 17 movie repo, line number 17th, 4 error null away, returning the nullable expressions from method with null run non null return type. So that means it is saying that this can be giving the problem, right? This movie is giving the problem for us, and due to that it is failing. So what is the solutions? Go ahead and make that as nullable, right? So if I can tell, this method means this find by name method will be giving me a null pointer exception, can be give the null pointer exception, right? So I'm saying that make sure that it is coming from the org.jspecify.annotations, not from Jakarta and any other. I am telling that this is the nullable methods. This can be null in H1 runtime. Means this method will give us the null value, right? Okay. So now let's start the build once again. Let's see what happened. Okay. It is saying that null away dereference expression movie is nullable. Means this movie is nullable here because I have changed that repository find by name to tell that it is kind of nullable. So externally I have to take care for this part, right? To null check of this particular movie name, right? So what I can do is I will go ahead and use that value. Okay. So I need to check these conditions for the movie name here. And I'm saying that before doing anything, if movie means this movie can be null, right? So if movie is equal to returning that value as null, something, anything you want, okay? So if movie is returning null, I'm saying that one return statement with message movie not found or anything, movie not found. And in the else part, I am going to print or return that statement here. Okay, so I'm checking that the null pointer is here now. I'm just reformatting it once again. So explicitly I am identified this method call. So this method call can be nullable here, and overall if that movie is null, I am mitigating that issue by checking the null checks. Okay, so I am telling that if movie is null, print or return that message movie not found, and else you can go ahead with the actual movie name dot whatever you want, right? So now build up your applications. It must build successfully now in this time. Okay, it must build successfully for sure. It is taking some times. Fine, so build is successful now. Okay, so first step is that. Now let's come to the next part, which is in the service layer. If you see, I am calling this book movies. Okay, and it has this promo code. Okay, so what happened, maybe some of the users who is doing a booking, they might not have the promo code. Okay, and I'm calling this method apply promo code with that promo code. So in that scenario, this apply promo code parameter, which is promo code, will be null, and that will throw that promo code dot uppercase here, right? It will throw the null pointer exception if promo code is not there, right? So in that case, I have to mitigate that problem by stating it that this method will not give a null pointer exceptions. Okay, so let's go there, and if you see book movie, so here I am externally specifying that this can be nullable. Okay, so this promo code can be nullable, but I am calling this method even though if it is nullable. So in that case, see, argument stating that it might be null. So if I will build the application, it will throw the exception because I am externally saying that this can be null. This promo code can be null. So let's see. See, promo code where null is required. Null is required. Fine. So it is failing. Correct. And if you see where it is failing, line 33, 19. So this is the value. It is expecting to be not null. See, what is the fix for that? We externally have to check the null value, null check there. So if promo code not equal to null, okay, then only apply the promo code logic, right? So externally we are fixing the problem for null value. Okay, and then in that scenario it will succeed it. Let's see, run your build once again. See, this will fix the problem. This is the second scenario in this example. Okay, I'm not taking more deep, but this is the one simple flow I am taking so that you can understand how we can mitigate the null pointer exceptions using a Spring Boot version 4. It makes developer life easier, right? We are not going to scold by anyone in the production. So our manager is happy, we are happy, and our higher management will be happy. So this build is succeeded now. Now let's find the third one is one more is there. So for example, if you go to the movie, what happen if the rating is null or rating is not there for the upcoming movie? Okay, so for example, the movie which is not yet came or which is not yet released. Okay, so in that scenario this will become a null. Okay, so for example, I am taking one new movie which is going to be come. Okay, so a new movie of 4 and 1 second, that movie will border 3, right? Border 2 will not yet come. So in that scenario rating will be null for that movie for now. Okay, so in that scenario if you call these movies and if that movie is having this value movie.name and then everything, so that will become a null, right? Find by movie name, so that value will become null. So I'm strictly specifying it that the border 3 will not came here, but we will see that I am passing that value as nullable parameter. Okay, so that can happen and it can be a null value. So let's run the build once again. It will give the error, right? Right, see what it is saying that. So it is saying in the repository class line number 16, null value argument parameter annotated as not null, right? Because that is annotated as not null. Okay, so that's the case here. If you see that this can be not null value. Okay, so not receive null argument. So go to the repository class and how we can fix that value. Okay, so maybe you can put just rating is 0.0. Okay, so that is not yet came, and the one more object, for example, I want that movie object as null, so it can be a problem. Okay, so what is the solution for that? We can use we can externally intimate that this value, this parameter can be nullable, right? At the rate nullable. Okay, so I am saying that this value can be nullable. So in that case it will build your application successfully, right? Because we have already saying that this value can be null. And if you go to the movie repository, here you can make use of null value also. See, first see this build and then we can change that value as well. What is the problem? Build is failing because this value is null, right? So when it is finding that method, see where it is the problem. Null pointer exception we are getting, right? And that is here only. Failed to instantiate the constructor through the exception. Okay. Okay. So if I am calling this find all method, so here what happen is that movie is null. That's what it is giving the null pointer exception. So in this scenario, what we can do is in the find all method, go to that find all method, because if you see that this method is calling that find all and it is returning the null movie as the list, right? Because here I am given that null. Okay, one second. Let me first go through this one. So if I am using this null here, it will build successfully. I'm not going to give as the null value as a list. Okay. So first come first, then I will show that list also. So this will fix the problem because we have already telling these parameters can be null. Okay. So this is not going to give a problem for us. Okay. So build is succeeded. Okay. Now I am going to tell this list might be give the some null value. Okay. So for example, some null movies is there means which is not, or maybe the error error prompt by the users. So this method is giving the problem. Okay. So this movie call, wherever we are calling, so we are returning this movie dot stream, right? We are streaming that list and we are going to do further things for this find by name method, but here we have specifically specify that nullable. But here in this case, what happened with when we are going to find all movie? So for if we are going to find all movie, 4 movie is fine, but 5th and 6th is having null value in that list. So in that scenario we will get the null pointer error, right? So if you want, see, just before this one we have shown, so that, right, there was the null value exception. So let me build once again. Not this is the repetitive one, but yeah, you can at least correlate for that error why it has occurred, right? So it will give the problem, it will give me null pointer exceptions. So what is the fix for that in this find all method? Okay, so let give the build error here, and then I will show the fix for that. Okay, so okay, let's come. Yeah, so see, now it is giving me that error what I was expecting, and the value is that here it is null value. Okay, so when it is calling this movies dot stream and all, so there it is going to give us the problem. So in that case, find all method, what I am going to do is I am telling that this return value, like whatever the movies list I am getting, this can be null here. Okay, and the movie which I am going to take as here, this is also can be a null, the both scenario. Okay, so what happened, if you go to that get movies name, so if I am calling this get movies name here, it will go check for that find all movie and it will stream and it will goes that. But what happened is it will give the null value, right, for this part. Let me build once again and then I will suggest the fix. Repository dot find all. Okay, so this find all method will fix using that nullable kind of thing. See what it is saying, that this repository dot find all is nullable. Okay, and if you see that error, see line number 41, this method call 41 and 31, this means find all this stream value. When we are calling that find all, it is having the problem because we are taking this movies, and what happen if movies is null, movies dot stream dot to list, we are just taking that and converting to the list. But this is not the scenario. If it is null, then how we are going to mitigate that problem? Okay, so we have to check it the conditions for this part, right? So what we can do is we can check one, we can apply one filter, right? Let me apply the filter. Okay, so what can be there? So it can be objects dot non-null, then only goes to that list. Fine. So it is always true means that is the fine. So now build your application. This must fix your problem. See, because now we have this non-null value, means if it is not null, then only return the list, else it will throw the exceptions means build will fail. Okay, so if you see here, like I'm calling this method, so I have added this nullable for both, and just added this filter so that it will return non-null. And if you go there to that find all method, so here I'm doing that the same thing. It requires non-null repository find methods call, and I've added this filter for this object so that the movie will also not null. So for example, like if you're in case like might be this problem will happen, it will give the nullable value is error. So you can just change the pattern of creating a list from list.off to arrays.asList so that it can hold the value as null. This is null specific scenario. You know that real time we do not have that null, but yeah, to make sure that we are in the line up with that nullable concept here, so that you can use. So that's all for today. Please subscribe my channel and like my videos. Thank you so much.